Arsenal 2, Palace 2, and as you'll see on the thumbnail, I've said that this is a difficult one to digest because trying to understand and comprehend quite how much I feel and how much I care about it is quite difficult, if I'm honest. But as you'll see in the title, unless I've changed it, Liverpool had pretty much clinched the title. We knew this anyway. I think we had to lose for it to be official. And I think at this point, we can just kind of move on with our lives. We knew they'd... Look, the day, honestly... The day I really... Because if you watch Forever Arsenal, if you've seen me on AFTV and on this channel, I've constantly talked about fighting, you know, keeping Liverpool honest. And you never know if they slip up, if the pressure gets to them. I've constantly brought all this up. And you'll all know when I stopped. And it was after the 1-0 West Ham defeat. That was the day. It wasn't the Villa 2-2. It wasn't the 1-1 at Chelsea. It wasn't the, you know, we've had some bad results, right? It wasn't the Brighton 1-1. It wasn't the Fulham 1-1 away. It wasn't all those. The day that I really just internally went, it's done, was West Ham at home. That was really it. And so since then, I've just been in this waiting game. Like, put us out of our misery. It's done. Like, Liverpool are champions. Fair play to them, and they are. And you know what? I know this is an Arsenal match reaction, but just a word on Liverpool. Fair play to them. Fair play to Arne Slot. I said this on the watch along. We live in this really, I think, quite sad world of football media where everyone just wants to cook each other, and everyone wants to just be critical of everything that goes wrong. And Arsenal are terrible, terrible, terrible. Yet we're kind of second and in a Champions League semi-final. And yes, we haven't been good enough. But I say all this to say that Arne Slot and Liverpool, I sort of see all this stuff about like, well, the Premier League's not been as entertaining, or the Premier League hasn't been as good. Look, I would love for Arsenal to win the Premier League and bore their way to it because no one was even near us because we were that much better than them. And that's what Liverpool have done. And Arne Slot, next season, you know, if things don't go quite as well for him, I know what people will say. They'll go, well, he won it with Klopp's squad, and now he's had a few more players, and he's got a bit of a rebuild. How's he managing it? And Salah carried him. Arne Slot's done an unbelievable job. Liverpool have been brilliant, and credit to them. And I haven't really entered that part of the conversation in all this before on this channel, but it's all but done now. It's 99.999% done. I think we can say it because they're probably going to lift it away and win it away from us. Kicking a ball, they'll do it this weekend, so it feels the right and fitting time to say it, whilst also acknowledging that we can learn from them. We can learn from, look, I still think that Arsenal fully fitting at their best against Liverpool fully fitting at their best. I don't think they're miles ahead of us. I don't think they're miles and miles like the league table suggests, but they are and have been this season. We have to acknowledge that. We can learn from the tempo at which they play. We can learn the way they set up defensively to ensure Salah remains constantly a threat and not overload him necessarily with defensive duties and play to their strengths. We can look at, you know, the way they use their front three, both wide and narrow. We can look at lots of things. The engines in their midfield and the kind of the blend of craft but hard work, a bit steel, but also tempo controlling players. There's a lot of things we can learn about from Liverpool, and I hope we do. Now, there are some transfer updates about Arsenal, what we're trying to do in terms of building, and a video will be out on the Goonerverse too, probably right now as you're watching this, because David Ornstein came with some updates. I think it's important we cover them. So that video is out on the Goonerverse too, as well as an update on Thomas Partey that came earlier. So lots of content on the Goonerverse. Now, I'm nearly 4 minutes in because, again, difficult one to digest this game. I think the way I feel about it is this. Apologies if you watch my AFTV fan cam. Apologies if you watch a lot of my content recently. I've repeated this a lot. From the players to the manager, the coaching staff to everyone, I understand that there are kids and fans who've flown in and fans who just love watching football and their team to win. And you got to play for every single one of those. But I can somewhat sympathise with not throwing yourself into 50-50s, with not playing at an extremely high, intense tempo. Because we've got PSG next week. We've been riddled with injuries. And you know what? Mourinho and White didn't even make the squad. And there's a temptation to just kind of protect what you got because that's where all the attention is. I can sympathise with that. I absolutely can. But what I struggle with, and I think that's actually quite a good line from me, what I said on my AFTV fan cam was, you don't pull a hamstring by concentrating. And Saliba's made an error that he's made a week before, and that's really disappointing. Get them out your system. We love you, William Saliba, but that was really disappointing in my opinion. He had to concentrate and realise the pass wasn't on there and just make a better decision. Was the decision made from a little bit because Raya's so far off his line? Maybe. Did Erdegaard block his lane? Maybe. But he doesn't have to make that pass. He could just hit it down the channel. So I'm disappointed by Saliba. We have no issues as a team going long. So I don't really know why he wasn't sort of considering that late in the game. I think his decision-making in both moments, we've just scored against Real Madrid, and then you go make that error, and we've got 5 minutes to go against Palace, just to see it out, just to maintain an 8-point gap on City, and you go do that. It's poor. So, okay. But his partner, Jakub Kivor, well done. And if we'd won this game, the thumbnail would have said, huge praise for Kivor, something like that. Because he's been sensational, guys. I got it wrong. I thought he was a good player. And I know if a lot of you watch my content, you'll know I've been saying that I like Kivor. I think he's okay. I think he's quite good. But I never wanted him up against Kylian Mbappe and Real Madrid. And I never wanted him to be a starter in such a crucial part of the season for us. And that's where I've been so wrong, along with most other Arsenal fans. And credit to a lot of you who were in the comments of my video saying, James, trust the guy. He's better than you think. He just needs confidence. He needs game time. And absolutely, you were all right. The blocks he made, his comfort, not just on the ball spraying passes, but actually retaining possession in tight spaces was brilliant. I think Kivor dominated in that back four. And if it weren't for him, this could have been a worse score, actually. And Nketiah really should have scored and would have if it weren't for a big Kivor block. So he's been tremendous. The back four was a bit of a shambles today. Raya wasn't really at it, but he was great. So well done to him. And he's really forming a good partnership with Saliba, and they're understanding each other. So well done. Really well done. He was a big positive tonight. Another positive was Trosard with his goal. And he said Possard. Positive was Trosard, because he took his goal really well. I don't think he had that great a game, and I'm not that biased. I can admit it. I don't have to just constantly wax lyrical about Trosard because I want him in the false nine. Look, I actually don't think he had a great all-round game today, but that goal is what he gives you. The problem is, if he's not having that great an all-round game, then I'm not really sure what he has that Mourinho doesn't, right? Mourinho's also one chance, one shot, one goal. Trosard, I think, is the only one on our squad that can score that type of goal, kind of tight spaces, 2 players in front of him, drop a shoulder, drag it onto his left foot because he's happy to go right and left and then find the corner. I think he does that better than almost anyone in our squad. But overall impact kind of wasn't great. Thought Partey was brilliant. We'll talk about his contract stuff on the Goonerverse too, so go check out that video. But yeah, that's pretty much it really, guys. I think Arsenal were somewhat in second gear, somewhat comfortable, and I can live with that. I just can't live with the silly errors. They just feel really needless. On a day we could have picked up points, and a lot of Arsenal fans could have gone happy. Could have gone home happy with the win. The bigger tale of this whole kind of season, this game really is. Oh, I forgot to mention Kivor scored. Well done to him as well. Sorry, it's a great header. But the bigger sort of tale and takeaway from this game is that as much as everything's going great in the Champions League, and I promise you, if we win that competition, I will not care one iota of what's gone on in the league. But tonight was just a reminder that the league campaign has been so disappointing. And actually, though we got to a Carabao Cup semi-final, that ending and how we went out was disappointing. FA Cup's been a shambles. Domestically, we've had a pretty poor campaign. We have to be really honest about it. Listen, a poor campaign not long ago was 7th, 6th, all that. 5th, because we just missed out on top 4. I understand the floor has gone from here to here, but we need that ceiling to be higher, and we need these 13 draws to be 5 or 6. And you're putting way more points on the board from the positions you're leading in, right? 9 of the 13 games that we've drawn, we were leading in. So we need to learn from that. But anyway, no major negativity from me, slight deflation, but all eyes on PSG next week. I'll be there. I can't wait. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Well done, Jakub Kivor. He's been brilliant. Catch you in a bit.